Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. Today's conversation is pure activation. My guest, Haley Bowler-Cooke, carries codes that will alter your reality if you're open to them. This is an expansive transmission, one that bridges science, spirituality, and human potential in the most embodied way. Haley is the best-selling author of Unfuckwithable, as seen on Gwyneth Paltrow's Instagram and even requested for review by the New York Times. She's the founder and CEO of Uplift Lifestyle Inc. and the host of the Uplift Lifestyle Podcast, a global top 20 show with listeners in over 90 countries. Haley's work is cutting edge. It's life-changing. She hosts sold-out ceremonies and retreats that serve hundreds of clients each year, and she works privately with elite performers across industries through her energetic, neural, and somatic optimization practice. Her teachings weave divine femininity, human optimization, manifestation, and what she calls the art of receiving. This episode is an invitation to open your energy, to receive at a new level, and to remember what's possible when you live life by your design. So, let's dive in.
Yay, I'm so excited to be here. Zoe, it's just good to be with you again. I just love you, and I could talk for the whole podcast about how incredible you are. We're not going to go down that road, but I want your listeners to know, and they already know, you're in amazing hands, that you have Zoe guiding you, and just you're so generous to just share the ins and outs of your life and continue to coach and guide through everything. You're amazing. So super honored to be here with you and super excited to be here with everyone who's listening. And if you're listening to this type of podcast, you've chosen to initiate yourself. You've chosen to walk maybe an unusual path. You've chosen a mystical, miraculous life. You're probably not living like the average person, and I just want to honor you and celebrate you because it's bold. And this is what I do. This is what Zoe does. We're out here living it, and we're being leaders and showing up and sharing it and just how good it is. But it is a life of courage and bravery as well. So I want to acknowledge you. So I'm Haley Bowler-Cooke. I'm the best-selling author of Unfuckwithable and the podcast host of Uplift Lifestyle Podcast, CEO and founder of Uplift Lifestyle Incorporated. And those are all just titles, but really what I do moment to moment, day to day, is I live a life by my own design. I literally, moment to moment, I do what I want. It's like, what do I want to do now? What do I want to do now? And it's always, that's the thing that guides me. What do I want? What do I want to do? From the simplest things, what do I want to eat? Where do I want to walk? Where do I want to go for lunch? To the biggest things, how do I want my illusion of the future to look? How do I want my home to look? How do I want my travel to look? How do I want my life to look? I just had my dream wedding. I designed that. Everything is just this creative expression, and we have our entire life that we get to just design in a beautiful way. So I do that for myself, and I do that with my clients. And the modalities that I do with my clients are very esoteric. I do a lot of direct channeling where I basically hand myself over to infinite consciousness and intelligence, and I just invite that consciousness to channel through me for my clients. And I do breath work, somatic experiencing. I do tons of body merging work that supports the mind and consciousness to expand. But ultimately, I'm just living my best life, and I'm helping people do that. And whatever modality comes through that day is exactly what they need. And today, I'm just going to channel for you. I'm going to answer Zoe's questions. I'm going to channel exactly what I know you need to hear today. So super excited to be here and so happy that you're with us listening.
Oh, thank you so much, Haley. You are just such sunshine in the human form. And thank you for everything that you said in your acknowledgments. That's so special. And I know that so many people listening are just feeling very seen, very heard, and very excited for everything that you're going to be sharing with us today. I'd love to start off with your book, Unfuckwithable, because it is absolutely incredible. And I want to hear a bit more about that journey of writing that book and sharing it with the world and what that's brought for you in your life.
Okay, so Unfuck with a Bull, it literally, I had no choice. It was coming through me. It was like childbirth. I was like, I'm writing this book. Years before I even started writing, the title came to me, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna just write that down and save it for a rainy day. That's gonna be my book title. I even flash forward years before the book title came to me, years before that, even when I went to school for clinical kinesiology. So I studied the human body. That's what my whole background's in. And for whatever reason, when I was studying the human body and like bound to become a doctor or something, I was like, I'm gonna write a book. Like I just kind of knew that I was the type of person to write a book. The illusion of my persona was the person that would write a book. You know what I mean? Like how I want to experience life, how I want to express myself. I was like, I'm an author through and through. And then I ended up starting a podcast. I ended up posting on social media and I was just writing all the time and speaking all the time. And it was like, I couldn't, and for anyone who's into human design, I'm self-projected. So I'm a self-projected projector. So there's so much just that's streaming through like that, if you believe in human design or not, like that open channel, like I really just have it. And it's easy for me to speak, it's easy for me to channel, it's easy for me to write. And I just knew I'm gonna write a book. And then the book title came and I'm like, perfect, clog that away. And then it was more a matter of like creating space. So if you're listening to me speaking, like what do you want to birth into the world? Make sure if there's something you want, make sure there's space for it. I didn't have the space for my book to come through. It wanted to come through, but I didn't have space for it. My schedule was way too packed with work and with socials. And when we decided, Mitch, my now husband and I, when we decided to get our dog Cash, our Dalmatian puppy, I was like, okay, like everything I do, I just do it to like the highest degree of excellence. So I was like, I'm going to be an excellent dog mom and I'm going to like not travel for like 4 months. I'm not going to go like be away from her. Like I'm going to be focused on being the best dog mom, training her, etc. So I was like dialed for that. Okay. That time came, we had her, and I was just home all the time. So all of a sudden, that space was open for these blessings to come through, which were the channeled codes of my book. So I had all this space. So the one day, my dog and I were out in the backyard, just like on a blanket, like frolicking in the sun. And I got this download of the book chapters. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't even have my phone on me. So I had to like run in the house and like, it was like a movie. I had to get like a piece of paper and a pen. And I just like wrote down my book titles or my book chapters. And it was like, thank you. Thank you, God, whatever. Put it away. Didn't start writing right away. A couple weeks later, which for me and Zoe, I know you know exactly what I mean by this. Like a couple of weeks for me, like a day for me is like a year. Like the amount of growth and evolution, the amount of focus, the amount of like change, transformation, realizations, like one day is a year. So 2 weeks for me is like multiple years. So 2 weeks after I got that download of all of the chapters, I was like, oh, it's time to write this book. Even though 2 weeks ago, when the chapters downloaded, I didn't even have a plan of when I would start writing. It was like, whatever, I'll write that down and put it away. 2 weeks later, I start writing. Basically, it was the easiest process of just opening a document, like a Google document, and just typing a bunch of stuff out. And because I had done a couple of years of podcasting and just writing my like content on social media for programs, for clients, I just had literally a library. And I still, now it's crazy. Like the library I have is insane. Like I could write 20 more books, like in a month if I wanted to. Like there's just a library of knowledge. And the greatest thing is the knowledge, I don't view it as my own. It's not like based on my personal experience this or based on my client's experience this. It's like infinite wisdom, universal consciousness, like huge codes that are big. And I just hand myself over to be the channel for them and share them so they come through really quickly. So yeah, between everything I channeled through in the past, everything that was channeling through in the moment, it's like something like a program I would have launched. Like for instance, I have a retreat called the Art of Receiving. So I have programming that I do to support my clients getting into the art of receiving. So I had like a library of information on the art of receiving. So I was like, oh, there was a chapter named the Art of Receiving. And I just would start to write some stuff I already had, and then like the floodgates would open and I'd be channeling more and just typing it and typing it. And I never wrote the book because it's all coming through the divine. There was never any like control. I was never controlling it. I was never like, I need to write 10 minutes a day for like a week. Like it was like, I would just feel inspired to write and then I would write. And then I wouldn't feel inspired to write and I wouldn't write. Like I had no rules. I had no pressure. I wasn't like, it's coming out on this day. It has to, like, I just released all that. And the fact of the matter is, when I started writing it, which was the 2022 summer of 2022 when we got cash, my book was done. Like I go back, I'm always reflecting and looking back in my notes. I use my calendar on my phone is my diary. So like I'll write not only what I'm doing, but I'll write like realizations or thoughts or like breakthroughs or like this was a big edge of evolution day because of XYZ or whatever. So, anyways, I looked back, it was like February of 2023. So imagine this. I start writing my book in summer, like July, August of 2022. And then it's like February 2023 and I was like wrapping up a couple chapters. And then by March, April, like spring, I was sending it for, it was already edited because I was editing it as I go. And it was like already edited. And then it was going for printing. And I was planning my book launch party, which it was going to happen in May. Like I was ready for it to happen in May because I wanted to be around my birthday, but the books weren't going to be ready in time. So we pushed it to June. So well within a year, my book was like written, edited, published, printed, ready to fucking go. So that's a little bit about the book writing journey. Writing a book is really easy when you're just tapped into divinity. There's like no such thing as writer's block. I never even was like, not once was I like feeling blocked ever. It's so easy. And
Yes.
oh my God, it's just so easy. And like I have so many clients that I was just on a call with a client who's an author. Her book comes out November 18th. Like I support now so many clients that want to write books. And I know you're an author too, Zoe. So like you know this process. Like it's easy when you let it be easy and when you just decide that there's no pressure, no ego, no illusions, and you're just like, the universe wants me to write this, I'm writing it. And it's so fun helping people and just they're always like, "Oh, I heard this, I heard that." And I'm like, "No, no, like no, it's this gets to be easy." Yeah. So that's a little bit about the book.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Haley. And I really appreciate everything that you shared, just from the writing process itself, the channeling, the opening up, and just being fully surrendered to the gifts that you have and how they connect you and the wisdom can then flow through. I think it's just so beautiful to hear directly from you that process because I think it just opens up a lot of permission for people to trust themselves and trust themselves more deeply and trust in what they can't see, but they feel
Mm.
flowing through
Hmm.
them. So
Yeah.
you are so embodied in your spiritual gifts. I'd love if you could touch on how long have you known this or been aware of this, or what has that journey been like for you when it comes to your own spirituality?
Hmm. Okay. I'm like, where do I even go from here? I guess I've always had like an unwavering, unfuckwithable self-concept. And when you think if you didn't have an unwavering self-concept, but somehow you fell into spiritual like teachings and scriptures, what you'd come to realize is like everything comes back to you're the creator of your reality and you are divine and you are divinity and you are the source. Like they all kind of come back to that. And without having any of those spiritual scriptures in my life, I always knew on some level that I was the one. Like I was the queen. Like I just had that like unwavering embodied, you could call it confidence, you could call it like knowing, I don't know, but like I had it innately and I had incredible parents who really uplifted that in me and they would celebrate me when I would own that and when I would better yet help people remember that in themselves. So I would be like a young girl and my mom, which I don't remember any of this, but my mom would be like, yeah, like I'd be driving you guys to like soccer practice and you'd be in the back seat and you were like hyping people up and you're like, "Oh, you're so good at like back handsprings and you can do a cartwheel." And like I was just like telling people how awesome they were and like genuinely meaning it. Like it wasn't coming from like I hope they like me. I'm going to be nice. It was just like I was seeing the light in everyone and I effortlessly saw it in myself. And I'm human. I've had many, many, many times in my life where I've forgotten and had amnesia and all the things. But yeah, I was just really like dialed in my self-concept. And then when it came, because I grew up with parents, so my mom owns a retreat center. My mom's super spiritually connected. I actually really want you guys to meet Zoe. I know I've said that before.
Yes, I
And you
can't
will.
wait. Hmm.
Yeah, you're gonna meet
Yeah.
her. I can't wait. So we own a retreat center, and I was raised like love is our religion. everyone is welcome here. Like even so it's Thanksgiving weekend as I'm recording this and like I was on the phone. My mom called me like multiple times today. I'm like, okay, I'm busy, but anyways, like we're just like a tight family like that. Anyways, but she was calling me. We were on the phone last night and just I was like, yeah, so like who's coming for Thanksgiving this year? And then she's just like listing all these random people. And she's like, yeah, they didn't have anyone to be with, so like we've invited them. And it's just like that's just who she is. Like I call her the universe in human form. She is infinitely generous and infinitely abundant. And she literally is like, her name's Therese. She's like motherfucking Teresa. Like she is literally like, we can help. Like she's just the shirt off her back type of person. And that was amazing to have as influence, a huge influence in my life. And there was also a lot of like wounding that came from that, where so there's a lot to unpack. We don't need to go into it, but there was a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't the most important because everyone else was so important, as important, right? Like the random, the foster kids, the random people at school who couldn't have lunch, like everyone was getting the love that I was getting, and it was kind of like, but I'm your daughter. So there was that I've worked on healing the last many years, but without all that ego and that the illusion of the separation there. I was raised by someone who was like, we are all love and we are all loved. And that was profound. So, and my dad as well. He like walks life differently than my mom, and yet he had such a rigorous, dialed discipline. He coached in the Olympics. He was a professional athlete. He was like a very just disciplined person. Like to this day, he has like a six pack. He's like 64 or something. And he's just like hardworking, like so disciplined, like that type of person, right? So it's like I had the like quantum universe, and then I had like the physical, like the just like caretaker of the land. Like I just had that. So I was influenced really well by that. But societal conditioning is still so intense. I still felt like I need to go to university to be worthy. I need to have like a normal job to be like worthy. So I did that. I went to school for clinical kinesiology. And it was in my third year when I really realized like I can't work for anyone. Like I just can't. Like I'm so independent. I'm stubborn. Like I know what I want. I get what I want. Like I'm just dialed like that. I can't waste time. It really annoys me to waste time and energy. So I was just like, all right, it's official. I'm not doing any of this shit. I even questioned, should I finish school? Because like this is really not it. I can already tell. But what I ended up doing was I started my podcast. And when I started my podcast, it opened the throat chakra in a way that I could just channel. And at the same time, I was personal training and fitness instructing, and I was working one on one with clients, and a lot of their subtle energy was coming through. And although my mom was super like energetics, energy, she was a channeler, she was a psychic, like I was raised with it. I never really was into it. Like I wasn't like, Mom, teach me your ways. I was like, okay, nice, like whatever, I'm gonna go, to this party, this high school party. Like I cared about what I cared about. And I wasn't really that intrigued by spirituality at all. And it wasn't until it was sort of like smacking me in the face, like I was channeling really easily, I was inspiring people really easily, helping people feel good, peaceful, happy. Like that's what spirituality is all about, is like really enjoying your human experience. And I was just doing that. And then I would work with clients and I'd start to get downloads for them, channeled information. I was starting to get psychic readings on people that were just coming to me for, to get abs or to get like a booty or something. And then all of a sudden I'm getting this information. Usually they were much older than me. I'm in university at the time, right? So I'm like pretty young. And I would just start sharing it with them eventually. Because again, I was very bold and I had that confidence. So I was like, hey, this is coming through. Like, what's this mean or whatever? And it just was really landing with people. Fast forward then, I started transitioning into that. I stopped feeling fulfilled with personal training in the body, and I was like, I want to go into energy and like I still use the body portal. The body is everything. Like everything's breath work, everything's somatics. But I really was like, how can we use energy and not just focus on the tangible reality? Like let's go into the unseen, right? Like let's give more power to the unseen realms. So I started doing that. And then it was literally just like very clear very early, that was my gift and that was my life's purpose, to support people holistically in their life, but really not hold back on channeling with such direct conviction. Like, this is the truth. Like, you are divine. You can do it. You can have it. You can be it. Like, just really like, it's beyond belief. Like, I just knew these things about people. And it was just, if I saw someone settling, if I saw someone not treating their body with honoring, like all the things, like I was just calling it out so quickly. And that's when I really started doing what I do now, which is working one-on-one with clients. And of course, like I told you, one day for me is like a year. It's looked different and it's transformed and like shapeshifted over the last couple of years. But that's how things got started. And then diving into like being someone who's like, okay, I'm not doing this normal job. Like, I've got to pay my bills and I have super expensive taste. I'm like, I've got to pay my bills. So, like, this is, I guess, a business. So then I started learning about like self-development and business and entrepreneurship, and it's a slippery slope. It's a rabbit hole. Once you start that, then all of a sudden you're like learning about quantum physics, and then the next thing you know, you're reading the Bible. Like, it just is a fucking slippery slope. And that's what it was for me. And I was just like, whoa, all of a sudden I'm like learning all of this stuff. And now I'm at a place that's very different since my near-death experience. And I know you said we can touch on that, but since my near death experience, I untethered fully from my life and from my business. I don't even call it a business anymore. Like, I'm allergic to that. I'm allergic to like growth stuff. Like, it's just it, it's not the point. It's not the plot for me. And yet my life grows in huge, beautiful ways. My life's work grows in huge, beautiful ways. But yeah, my spirituality is like super refined now, but it's something that it's changing every moment of every day. So it's hard to really like put a word on it or a name on it, but that's a little bit of the story of how I got to where I am now.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us, Haley. And I cannot wait to meet your mom, meet your family, and go to the retreat center because I see everything you're posting on Instagram. It just looks so awesome. And you can just tell that you're providing such a nurturing environment for people to really expand. And that's what I was getting from what you're sharing. And also, as you're touching on the near-death experiences, you've just given yourself permission to expand every step of the way. Whatever that expansion looks like, you've trusted yourself as it's come through. And it sounds like with that innate knowing and self-confidence that you have, that strength and self-concept, you haven't let the doubts or the fears derail you. Like, of course, we're all human, as you mentioned, like maybe for a moment or two, but you're consciously releasing those things that no longer serve you to create space for the expansion, the pathway that's here. And I would love it if if you could share a little bit about your near-death experience and like you said that allowed you to be untethered because I think when people go through near-death experiences or even death itself, just remembering conversations that we had
Mm,
previously this year around losing my brother. Like when you go through something so intense that has to do with death, it almost inspires or opens up a new idea or way or paradigm of living. And
yes.
I'd love for you to touch on what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, death is it's just a new expansion. It's just an opening. It's a new opening. And our egos want to attach to the victimhood of things. Our egos want to attach to the stories. And there's so much reinforcement in the paradigm, the normal, average type of person, how they're living, that we almost don't give ourselves that permission to experience it the way we're experiencing it. And everyone's experience with death, with grief is unique. And yet it's such an emotionally charged subject that there's so much repetition, emotional charge, and therefore programming of what it should be and how one should feel. So it's been beautiful having these conversations with you too, Zoe, and hearing your experience as losing someone that you love. And it's not something I can imagine because I haven't had that. And but I have had my experience. So from my perspective and my personal experience of having my own life taken and then given back, it really does allow you to untether and surrender in a way with a completely new vantage point of the simulation and of the hologram and of your life, that it's two things. It can feel almost depressing and so neutral that you feel like apathetic, and I've had that where you feel like none of this is real. So what the fuck? But then on another level, I found it to be just like fun and funny and like it's not serious. Like there's this part of me that's like this isn't real. And it's well, actually a whole part of like all the time I'm like this isn't real. But like there's this part that's like this isn't real and let's get depressed about it, or there's this part that's like this isn't real and like let's have so much fun while we're here because like this is literally all so impermanent. And having the vantage point from a near-death experience or losing someone you love, or even just like pondering death, like I think like most humans do that. I actually never did that, but I know a lot of people do. I never really thought about death. I had no idea I was going to have a near-death experience. I did not consciously create that. But yeah, the surrender and the ability to be detached, it's almost like you're just like, what do I have to lose? Like, I have nothing to lose. And I find myself saying this to my clients a lot, like, what do you have to lose? And then they'll be like, nothing. Or they'll be like, this, that. And then I'm like, okay, well, like, let's look at this, and that. And like, do you actually like what? It's all an illusion. And then we just like break that all down. And then all of a sudden, like the ego deaths just happen and happen and happen. And then you are just left with this feeling of like, this is not serious. And yet I keep waking up every morning. Like this is the realization that I've had lately. It's like, it's all an illusion. It's not serious. But yet I keep waking up in this human body. How do I want to feel? What do I want to do? Like, I'm here. So what would be fun? What would be adventurous? What would be expansive? What would be like just pure pleasure and joy? And a lot of people don't get the opportunity they don't create in their hologram the opportunity to just have fun with life and be like the Busting Loose book, so that I've told you about. Robert Scheinfeld calls it creative expression. Like, how do I want to just creatively express today? And it's like that. Like in my own language, I just am like, what do I want to do? So I really make it simple for myself. What do I want to do? I want to be on this conversation. Like I have eliminated everything from my life's work. I don't call it a business anymore. I call it my life's work. And anything I don't want to do, I don't do it in it. I don't do it at all in my life's work. And some people would my ego and some people would say, "Oh, but then you might lose out on like this profit and this growth and this impact and influence and all these things." And I'm just like, "Those rules don't apply to me because this is my simulation. Those rules don't apply to me." So I just like I really like brainwashed myself into this way of living, and it's so freeing. I'm the happiest person I know. I'm so healthy. People are always telling me like you're radiant, you're glowing. And that wouldn't happen if I decided to be really depressed and apathetic. If I was like, none of this matters, I'm just gonna go be fucking depressed. I wouldn't be glowing. I wouldn't be helping people, the illusion of helping people. I wouldn't be like, I just wouldn't thrive the same. So I'm like, none of it matters. It's not serious. And how do I want to feel? Like if I'm waking up in this body every day, what do I want? Like, what do I want to eat? What do I want to drink? Where do I want to travel? What's my dream wedding going to be? Like, I knew this was all a simulation, a hologram. The whole time I was planning my dream wedding. Like, I know it's all an illusion, but I still get to enjoy the human experience to the absolute fullest. And I don't have this same, like I was saying, I cut myself off, but I was saying a lot of people don't give themselves the opportunity to just have fun with life because of how much programming is in the way. Like, it can't be fun. You have to work and then you have to retire and then you die. Like, it can't be fun. No, you have to, it's also serious. You have to do this and then you have to do this and then you have to do that. And it's just like, I just keep building evidence for myself year after year of like, it's not serious. And you can still do all those human things like pay taxes and like whatever and still have a lot of fun every day. Like that doesn't have to derail your life at all. So, yeah, I don't even remember what you asked. Oh, my near death. So, my near death, like, really, like, when it happened and I woke up, I was on the floor in my kitchen and I like my eyes eventually opened. It was like this really unique. I actually have a whole, I won't get into it now. I have a whole podcast episode that goes through the whole near-death experience, like vividly, like what happened, all that. So it's on my podcast, Uplift Lifestyle Podcast. I think I call it Near-Death Experience, Death and Rebirth, literally. I think that's what it was called. And it was March or April of 2024 that it would have came out. So you can go find it. But I do remember waking up on the floor and being like, this is good. This is really good. Like, I just was like, a part of me, and the veil was so thin, I was completely my infinite self. I was like, thank you. Like, I genuinely felt thankful. I felt enough. I felt peaceful and euphoric. I was like, this is really good. And then fast forward, the ambulance obviously comes and gets me, and then I'm at the hospital, and that's all kind of blurry. But then being in the hospital again, I remember being like, this is really good. This is really good. And I was like this weird, like someone could have looked at me and been like, who is this crack addict? Like, why is she sitting in there smiling? But I was like so happy. I was like, I was happy to be alive, but I was also just happy for the experience. Like, I was so happy. I was like, I can't wait to just get home and like lie on the couch and cuddle my dog and Mitch, who is my now husband. I was like, I just want to like go do that. But I was also just like, I'm really happy this happened. And I felt so untethered. The interesting thing that I do want to say here, because the programming is so intense, in the years, so when I first started what I do in like 2020, 2021, kind of, that's when we first met, Zoe, which was the best. And Lauren introducing
Mhm.
us. When that all happened, I was in just pure like potentiality, expansion, joy, and getting really great results. And it was also fun. And then I started to just like go down that like rabbit hole of like, all my old patterns were coming out of like performance, outcome, not enoughness, more next, all that. So I was like really like operating in that ego for a lot of years there. Like even if it didn't look like it at the level I'm at, I'm like very aware that that was still very present. Like the average person wouldn't look at me and be like, "Oh, she's like all in her ego," because they'd see that I'm really happy and peaceful and like all those things. But if I'm looking at it from my vantage point, that's like much higher now, the truth is I was so in my ego of like performance outcome. And then when I had my near death experience and that all got stripped away from me and I literally couldn't do anything with my life, like I was like lying in bed, like struggling for like months. I was like, who am I? And like all those dark fears came up of like, I can't perform, I can't output, I can't make money, I'm nobody. I don't look the same, I don't feel the same, my body doesn't work the same. Like all these like really intense ego feelings would come up. And once I started to, and there was so much healing there, but I was also getting like, I would get these moments where I would feel better, and then I'd want to like the old ways of like, I'm gonna go perform and go do this. And then I'd be like back on my ass, and I'd be like wondering why I'm having like such intense like overwhelm because it's like I was overdoing it. And so that was a thing for like probably 3 months up. So from like May to August, if I look back, I was actually reading some of my old journals on the full moon this week, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I actually had a good cry for my past self because I was like, wow, I was struggling. Like, I was really struggling. And I was so, like, my self-concept was so strong that, like, I was just like, I've got this, I'm doing it. But, like, the real raw truth is, like, I was hurting and it was, like, hard. And I was really, like, so lost. Like, it makes me want to cry thinking about it right now because it was just so real reading that journal from a totally different perspective. It would be like if I had a child and I wasn't experiencing what they were experiencing at all, but they were telling me about this pain. I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm crying for you. That's what it felt like. Anyways, what happened was for those 3 months, my ego was like the old timeline was like trying so hard. It was like, no, come back, come back. And then the new timeline was like, we are like, we've died and come back to earth. Like, we know better. We're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this push pull. But the old timeline was so strong. So for 3 months, I was in this battle. It was super intense. And then the summer of 2024 is when truly I just spent a lot of time at our cottage. I untethered so much. I read the Busting Loose book that I've told you about, and I'm not a reader. And I really, then I dove really deep into quantum physics as one does. And I hadn't dove deep into quantum physics for a couple of years, so it was a really good refresh. And I just like really was back in the feeling of like when I woke up in the hospital bed of like, this is not serious at all. There should be no struggling. Struggling is a choice. Effort is a choice. Like it's not necessary at all. And being really removed, our cottage is super beautiful and expansive, but it's also very remote and it's on an island. And like, I just was so intentional. I'm so grateful. I was so intentional to just shut the world out for like many weeks on end and just dial in and really devote to like a quantum reality and not from the dissociation and the apathy, which is a choice that some people make. Because if you dive into all this, you could easily become depressed because you will realize that this is a simulation. But if you choose to recognize that it is, but you would also love to have a great fucking time while you're here in the unseriousness of it all, it's an amazing playground to be in. And so I just committed to that. And so for the last year, because now it's 2025, it's October 2025. Yeah, for the last year, I've just been living that. And there's moments when I'm like, is this okay? Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm sure you've had this, but you have moments where you're like, is this okay to be like this happy and this carefree? And I was saying this on a podcast interview I was on a couple days ago. My true essence is carefree. I'm actually like when I was a kid before conditioning and programming, and I had a few really intense experiences in my life that made me lose trust and become controlling. But before all that, I was so carefree. I was just like a carefree person. And everyone's different. So Zoe, like what's your true essence? Like when you were a kid before you got conditioned, like who were you?
Freedom is what comes to mind, just ultimate freedom.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah. And as you're listening to this at home, like what is it for you? Like for me, I just discovered recently that it's carefree. Like I was very carefree. And then I became careful because of control and all these things. But now I'm back to being carefree and I've been carefree for like a year. And it's like you have these moments where your ego's like, yeah, remember like when we used to worry about this and not be in the present moment and actually just spend a lot of time thinking about what's next and what's coming. And then you just get to this place where you're like, I don't set goals. I don't set intentions. There's no need. I just literally live in the moment and I just make that moment the best moment. And I only say yes to what I want to do and I only do what I want to do. And any rule that says otherwise doesn't apply to me. And I've just been de devotionally living like that for now a year. So I have, and a year, even that's an illusion. There's no such thing as time. But as I live in this, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, wow, is this okay? Am I allowed to, like, is this allowed? And then it's like, even that's kind of funny that I have that fearful thought. But yeah, the reality is like, it's allowed and it's a great place to be. Like, it's amazing to live like this. And I just really encourage you. And this is language I didn't quite have up until recently, but like, if you untether completely and you surrender completely, which I highly encourage you do, and you don't need a near-death experience, you don't need death of any type to do this. But if you have had that, you are really being initiated into it in a really quick way. But I have the language and awareness now that be really intentional to not go down the apathy route. Because and you know what, that might be your choice, that might be your path. But I, there were many times, and there's still to this day, like Saturday night, what is it? It's Friday, a week ago. I like cried myself to sleep and I'm like, what is life? Like I was like actually like I'm so lost, like out on this moving planet, like what the fuck? But that was like a 10-minute experience. And the rest of my 365 days of a year in the illusion of a year, I'm fucking bopping around thriving. But I do still have moments of like, what is life? And I when I first had my near-death experience, it was a dark time, I will say, because although I experienced that euphoria, the contrast of it was I was literally like, none of this is real. I'm not real. My family is not real. My dog's not real. Like people and things I really love and like gave a lot of energy to. I'm like, what? Like it was just crazy. And then I also had the human fear of like, is this going to happen again? And I was like traumatized, like anxious, like, am I going to just die again? Because I had no warning signs that that was coming. So yeah, I really encourage you to not go down the apathy depression train. If you have to go there and visit it for a bit, which I did, and I think you maybe had to as well.
Yes.
So, like, we had to, sometimes you have to go there and just be like, oh shit, I think I got on the wrong train. No, I don't want to go here. And then you just get back off the train and then you just get back on the train you want to be on. Like, I encourage you to untether and I encourage you to really see how unserious and unreal it all is, but then be like, well, I'm somehow still here, so let's have fun or whatever is fun for you, whether it's joy or peace or like whatever, like, but let's do what we want to do. And that's the greatest permission slip I got was just like, I only do what I want to do. Not doing what I wanted to do. If I'm just thinking as not quantum, but just like human, doing the things I didn't want to do but felt like I had to and should do is 100% what killed me and gave me my near death. That's 100% what it was. So save yourself that drama and just start doing what you want to do. And any fear that pops up, because you will get fear, you will get ego being like, it can't be this easier. I can't do that. Or this person's now mad at me. Or I've created this, judgment or this shame or this fear or this loss or whatever. It's like, then you just get an incredible experience and opportunity to take your power back and look where you need to heal and look where you need to have another ego death and really go right for the bullseye there. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Haley, I'm just sitting here basking in these codes. That was just absolutely incredible. Thank you. I feel
You're
like so
welcome.
much of that was resonating with me. And I want to share, I just feel the call to share, like anyone out there, if you're going through a challenging time in life, like let's say it could be you've lost somebody, maybe you're coming out of a breakup, maybe your business is going through a pivot and it's really stressful, whatever is happening in your life, even though it can feel really dense, you have the power to alchemize that into something else,
Mhm.
something more carefree, something more freedom filled, just like Haley has been speaking into for all of you. Like, even though life can be very uncomfortable, what I found personally is like in the most discomfort, that's where you have the opportunity to really alchemize and transform your life in a way that truly serves you. And I feel like this year for me has just been a deep alchemization since the loss of my brother. And I'm
Mhm.
starting to come into what I'll say the light now. There was visits to Depressionville and all of
Yeah.
that. And I think
Yeah.
that was for feedback. The way that I'm understanding it now, like Zoe had to go there to get feedback on what that reality is like so she can speak to the people who may be in that reality and
Yeah.
create pathways out of it. So that's how I understand it to be. But again, no matter where you find yourself, like anything that's creating density, discomfort, like friction, go there, lean in, and
Yes.
create something anew, just like you're talking about life by your design. We all are the creators of our reality. And we have the power of conscious choice to create those shifts and changes as they're happening for us. And that's what I have to say, like, that's what I absolutely love about your messaging, Haley. What I receive from you is always that, like, yeah, so what? There could be like a fear that comes up, or you could be feeling into the collective consciousness and there could be some heaviness there, but you have a choice. Like you can just, clean your energy, cleanse it up however you do, and move forward living your best day, your best life, your best year, whatever
Yes.
that is.
Yes. Yeah, I like that you meant everything you said is so good. So again, like thank you and you're amazing and for the work you are doing in the world and for your community here. They're super blessed to have you as a leader. But what you just said there about the cleansing and clearing is so important. And this, I think if you are going to take this path, and once you cross, it's a line in the sand situation, like I will warn you. Once you cross, it's like you're going and it's amazing, but it's also a little disorienting. So, anyways, once you make that point and you decide to cross and again, you're listening to this type of podcast, you're already doing this. You've already decided that you're like going to be a weird person in the world and you're not going to be like the normal people in your neighborhood or whatever, or the people you went to school with. Like you're going to be different. You've already chosen that. But the most important thing that I do and that I encourage my clients to do and I take my clients through is like habitual, ritualistic, regular clearing. Because because we are all one and there is no separation, we are picking up on everything all the time and everyone else's stuff. And some people to a higher degree than others. But if we make it like our only job, and this is what I do, my only job is doing what I want and feeling good. And part of doing what I want and feeling good is only available when I create space, like I talked to you about earlier in this conversation, create space for my book to come through. I've done that with a billion things in my life. And it's the same thing, just creating space to feel good. So even after this conversation, even though I've loved this and I love you, it's not bad vibes. It's not hard. I love this. I could do this all day. I will get off this call. I will go outside and I will like shake and I will breathe and I'll be like, I let go. I let go. I release any energy and emotion that's not mine. And I'll just come back to myself. And it's really quick. I do it all the time. I do it after every client. I do it every time I get like in my house, out of my house, into my car, out of my car. It takes 2 seconds. I'm just like, I let go of anything that's not mine. It's not to say you have to do it this way. You don't necessarily need to create that story in your hologram, but I find because of the truth of oneness, and that is proven in quantum physics, form is affecting form not because it's affecting each other, but because there's no separation. It was never separate. So that's why it's seemingly affecting one another. It's because there's no separation. Anyways, so the truth does show that we are all connected. So and yet we keep waking up in our individual human suit. So let's focus on what I call and I write about in my book, individuation to oneness, which is where you individuate fully. What do I want? What do I need? I'm clearing my energy. You get very internal and it allows you to be the type of person that I am, which is I'm impacting and influencing the world in helpful, beneficial ways that changes people's lives. I couldn't do that if I was taking on the news and taking on my friend's stuff and taking on my client stuff and taking on the neighborhood and taking on everything. Like, I couldn't do it because I would just be down that depression. I'd be on the depressionville train because I'd be like, I am exhausted and at my capacity. But because I'm constantly like freaking witchcrafting energy away all the time and just like returning to what I need and who I am, I feel good 99% of the time. And if I ever don't feel good, I'm usually like, oh, I've picked up something that's not mine. And then I'm just like, that's not mine, that's not mine. I'm clearing it, I'm clearing it. And then 99.9% of the time, I feel amazing again. And if there's a 1% that I don't feel amazing, I'm like, oh, there's something for me here. There's actually something I get to look at. Like, I'm not going to bypass it. I'm not going to distract myself. I'm going to go to the bullseye and be like, where is their fear? Where is their doubt? Where do I feel like shit? Like, if I don't feel good, I literally clear my calendar and I'm like, I'm getting to the bottom of this. Who is it? What is it? What the fuck? Because I want to go there. I want to go head first into it. I want to heal it. I want to clear it. I want to integrate it. But we often are never doing that because we're just holding everyone else's shit. So habitual ritualistic clearing will clear so much clutter and will allow you to feel carefree and feel freedom and feel happy. And then if for whatever reason, and then you're bopping through life, and then for whatever reason something happens that you're like, ugh, that's not it. You can go, it's not mine. And then if it's like, no, it's yours, it's like, oh shit, okay, it's mine. Okay. And then you just do the work. And that work sometimes takes 30 seconds and sometimes it takes all day. But what do you have to lose? A day? Wouldn't you like to use that day to clear your frequency and focus on yourself? Like a day is not even real anyway. So it's just like a present moment that you have an opportunity to reclaim power. So do it.
Yes. Oh, so empowering, Haley. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And I appreciate the action steps, like just providing
Yeah.
that for the community here, because I think a lot of the times when people can hear these high level conversations, they're like, well, what does it look like? What is actual
Yeah. Oh,
what
yeah.
are actually the steps to take. And so thank you for providing that for people today and all of these different perspectives. And
You're welcome.
just thank you for your wisdom and your light and your joy. And I have just absolutely loved having you on the podcast today. I feel like we could just keep going forever in,
Yes.
in an array of different directions, but that just means we'll have to have you back again sometime. So
Yes.
thank you, Haley. I'd love it if you could share. Of course, I'm going to leave
Oh,
all the links to um, ev everything you down below, your book and your website, and how people can get in touch with you. But yeah, just let people know how they can connect with you.
thank you, Zoe. I'm so, so happy we had this chat and we could totally go down multiple directions and we will again. Um, yeah, so good. So the way that I think just go to my website, upliftlifestyle.ca, and I'm in Canada, so it's .ca, not .com. And you can link everything below, but there's some few like amazing places to start. My podcast, Uplift Lifestyle Podcast, my book, Unfuckwithable. And then I have this is another thing I've untethered from a lot of like normal streams, let's say, because they just don't feel correct for me. So there's basically like two ways that you can work with me. You can either work one-on-one with me or come to a retreat or an event, which is like literally live right there with me. Or I have an on-demand resource library, and they're not like long, complicated programs. It's literally like you pay once, you get the video, and it's me literally sitting and channeling like you've just heard me do, but on whatever topic. And then you just have lifetime access to it. And they go from free to pay what you can to some are like $22, some are like $100. They're all really like affordable and very transformational. So I have a whole on-demand resource library and it's on my website as well. So those are the ways. And I would love if you listen to this, please like send a DM on Instagram at uplift_lifestyle and you can tag that too. And then just be like, hey, I listened to the episode with you and Zoe and here's what I learned, or like, thank you, or I'm going to share it with someone. Like that actually matters. And I'm also unapologetic about saying, like, please let us know if you love this episode. Like, give a rating, give a subscribe, like, hit like these things actually do matter. Zoe and I are sitting here, like, sharing these codes, dedicating a lot of time and energy to it and you get to listen for free, which is amazing. You created that. And take 5 seconds and give us a little review. Like it really does matter and does help. And yeah, I've been encouraging my audience to do the same because I'm like, oh, I never really used to ask for that, but like that support that really does help. So yeah, for my podcast, for Zoe's podcast, and just come let us know. Let us know how this supported you. I'm so happy to be here and I know that you got a lot from this conversation and it's really tangible and it's simple. You just need to have 24/7 unwavering devotion to it. Like that's all. Like it's easy, the steps are easy, but you have to be willing to 24/7 be committed to it. It's like it's the easiest thing. Do what you want, do what you love, and now be 24/7 committed to doing that and facing anything that blocks in the way and be like, you're not real. So have fun with it. Enjoy this life-changing way of living, and we will see you on the other side.
Yes, thank you. Bye, everyone.